we go.
Hey guys,
that's an in-person pop.
welcome to episode 73 of CEDH Towers Brews and Builds. I'm Mr. Commodore 5, and my fellow host will be returned to dust by the end of this month's theme.
Oh, yes. And by return to dust, mean quitting the show. we got a long ways to go here, so I'm going to be quick with it because we are recording IRL for the first time in
it feels good.
months. So, hey, cats
For
and
the
kittens.
last time ever, jerk.
What? There's still 3 months.
No!
This is it?
Yeah.
That's not my fault. So just so we get it out of the way real quick, hey, cats and kittens, coming for you, Jimmy, and that's right, Billy. This is a slutty, sweaty, slimy, and greasy podcast.
Slutty.
It is a little slutty here. Okay, and finally, we have
Tuck's feeling slutty today.
So since we're in person, I decided to force these on Mr. Combo because I didn't want to bring any risk to our sponsorship with Rock Creek Brewing, I went with some other ones. Mr. Combo is a well-known hops enjoyer. So
I just love it.
I love the taste. I just tried to find the dankest, juiciest beers I could find.
Juiciest beers.
No sooner than 5 minutes before I got here, so this is what I came up with.
It's a juicy, slutty
round
beer.
one we have here is Roaring Sons Brewing Company, a dadgum IPA, and it says, and I quote, "Ridin' Danky." So let's see how this goes down the old gullet.
Wait, you said round one. Does that mean that there's multiple beers throughout this episode?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good.
But one of them I think you actually have a chance of enjoying. So
Oh, this looks like a legit cup.
aren't those great? Also, those cups have something in common with this one. Because I also stole them from my job 3 jobs ago.
It's like I got a keyboard, a mouse, a couple of cups.
Squeedy, you want a little pinch?
Yeah. Give me a little dive there.
Dest. Okay, good. We're out of it.
Believe me, my pour was about a quarter of an ounce of foam.
Here we go. Cheers.
All right. Cheers.
Skull.
Alley-oop.
Merry Christmas.
There
Here
we
we
go.
go. Okay.
All right.
Not bad.
Yes.
Combo might actually throw up.
Are you okay?
Oh my god. That's so bad.
It's kind of a dime a dozen IPA. It's not too bad, but it is for sure dank. So,
Good god.
we got.
This is going to the communal center.
Just pour it back.
I got a small pour.
yeah,
I'll take
there we go.
I'll take that.
Jess, do
Holy
you want?
Oh, after that reaction, no thanks.
Okay. We'll have one for you in a minute.
Well, spoiling it, we do have a guest on this episode to
Wait,
kick
before
off
that, you look a little tired.
Do I?
No, not at all.
No, actually, no. You look
we
very-
just talked about even sleeping in till 10.
You look very chipper
But then
and
I stay
spry.
up to like 2 or 3 watching
no.
Vikings. Oh, I'm
Hey, you know,
addicted.
it's still 8 hours. 8 hours is 8 hours of sleep. Done.
Oh, that's right. I do get 8
about
hours.
that.
Look at that.
Look at that.
Everybody gives me shit for waking up at noon, but I go to bed at 4. It's 8 hours. Works.
Well, you're still a vampire.
That's also not. That's like.
Oh, what's
That's
the difference
completely
between
different
2 and 4?
comparison.
Nothing.
Because he's still waking up at a reasonable time in the morning, not,
10
and not, if I may, the afternoon.
It's because the morning's bullshit. We don't need to do that.
Oh my god!
Now, it's important. Do you wake up at noon or do you wake up at like afternoon, like 12:01?
Oh, definitely afternoon. Like
Yeah,
between,
okay.
I was trying to let you off the hook there.
between noon and 1 is
Yes,
average,
that's what
and then
I was gonna say.
on a
Solid.
I tried.
Where most people would have already eaten 2 meals. So,
no.
Well, we have a guest. It's a new month, new theme, and he's going to help kick us off. The GOAD is here. You already heard his voice. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It's
good to see you.
Had a nice little holiday. Good to see you guys in person too.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
It's,
I know,
my
right?
heart.
Right?
It just feels good.
Over the weekend, I went to Nebraska Furniture Mart and picked up a new office chair, and my
Nice.
body greatly appreciates that one.
so is this like your mistress in comparison to your wife, or how does that come
that's
into
right.
it?
Deep
But
cut
say
there.
you're
Deep
coming
cut.
over and you're going to see your wife tomorrow. I mean, do I need to let her in on your new dirty secret?
Guys, I think it broke me. I don't think there's a right thing to say here.
Think carefully, because she listens to all of these.
It's like, no, honey, it's not like that. This is an office chair.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Oh,
it's just
that's your office
Yeah,
woman?
that's your office wife? Okay, see, getting domed in the bathroom, huh? Well, I'm gonna dome you for 100th comic store.
Getting domed in the bathroom. Wow.
Yeah, you cheating on her better not ruin the Chiefs' chances of winning Super Bowl.
Right?
That's going directly
my.
on you.
Don't put that on me.
It's already been done.
It's already been
too
done.
late.
Oh, God.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. And from Rich Chaos Records, we got Squee McGee.
Hello.
Hello.
What up, y'all? Welcome to the Hoos. Nice to have
The
you here.
Hoos.
Yeah, it's
House
a hoose.
Hoos?
The Hoos. Oh,
See?
I get it.
Right? That's right. We record in a basement of a house. But believe me,
Oh,
At
it's
least
not his
own it.
parents'
It's not my
house.
parents'
He
house.
actually owns it.
this is my house.
Unsaid guest from last year.
Redacted guest.
Now it's Jason Alt. You suck. I don't like it.
All right, easy enough.
It's done.
Yeah,
Anyways, that's it. Squee out.
All right. Well, if you guys want to support us, because Jason Alt's going to trash us now.
We're gonna get flamed.
From what? His basement?
He did that.
Yikes.
The CMD Tire team and all the content we put out, just head over to our sponsor, level1gameshop.com. They sell everything that you need for board top games like Settlers of Catan, which I am addicted to, plus everything you need from a sealed and single Magic perspective. If you would actually like to give us some financial help, though, head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/CMD Tire. We have pledge levels varying from just $1 a month that get you access into the Discord and the Deck Therapy deck series, all the way up to $25, where you get those, plus like a whole bunch of swag from us, playmats, sleeves, tokens, coins, stickers.
We do. I need some more of those by the way. Okay.
And of course, that gives you additional entries into our monthly giveaways that Level 1 sponsors. If you guys can't help us out from a monthly perspective, but you have seen maybe the Squee coin on stream, or actually a lot recently with the BigTuck Monarch token, you can also head over to cmdtower.com/merch, and we sell everything on there. Go ahead and buy it. Thank you, Spencer Rabbits. Thank you, everyone that supports us. Yeah, I know. Bought a couple coins.
Couple squeeze coins, my man.
Those things are worth their weight in coin flips.
But if you guys can't help us out from a financial perspective, just share the content you're watching and listening to, because every little bit of interaction from the collective does help. And of course, big shout out to our video editor, T-Coats. You guys can find him at Twitter, at T-Coats. He is fantastic. He's been a part of our collective for a long time, and he just started offering to do our Brews and Builds episodes, and they turn out pretty
they look
great.
Pretty damn phenomenal.
Way better than my PowerPoint slideshow. And of course, Pink Royal, thanks for the music you guys provided in the beginning and the end. And hey guys, new month, new giveaway. Stay tuned till the end so you can hear what it is.
Manolith.
No.
Damn.
So Brews and Builds is our deck tech series. Since we conquered the path to 32, we've moved on to the endless themes that EDH can bring us. Each month will be a new theme. We correlate how those decks are constructed, similar to how a beer is brewed. So we broke it down into 4 different categories. First one's ramp and setting your board state. That's grain.
Yes, and grains are the foundation of every beer. They include both base malts and specialty malts, usually in a 60-40 ratio. This helps with the color, taste, and most importantly, the alcohol content of a beer. Decks always need ways to grow, stabilize, and ramp in your bigger threats, and just like a grain profile, they usually mix of staples and specialty cards.
The next is going to be, how does your board interact with all of your opponents? We call that hops.
Yes, and hops give the beer its patented bitterness and herbal floral flavors. I am not wearing my glasses. They grow in a variety of strands, helps distinguish subcategories like this generic IPA we are enjoying. Our hop choices help interact with the board so your deck can do what it wants.
I did. It was nice.
Then the next is, how does your deck actually close out and win? Which in this month's theme that we're doing, you would think there'd be a lot of them, but it's actually the fewer, the better. We call that yeast.
And yeast are living microorganisms that eat the sugar from the grain and poop out alcohol and CO2. It adds the alcohol content and carbonation. Without yeast, you'd be drinking flat sugar water. And without yeast cards, your deck wouldn't meet the goal of actually winning the game.
And then finally, we have shenanigans, weird pet card synergies that could be in the deck that are just kind of fun, which we're starting off great. The deck today has a whopping 1. I think it'll either be 1 or less for the entire month. You could probably figure out where we're going with this. We call that a spice package.
And not every beer has them, but spices and other additives help separate a normal stock beer from a specialty one. It could be the pepper that turns a stout into a jalapeno stout, or the addition of hops that turn an IPA into a double IPA. Not every deck has something that makes it pop, but if it does, this is where we generally talk about it.
And then to seal the episode, we have a bottle capping. These are going to be BigTuck's, the GOADs, and I's cuts and adds to the deck that are going to be under $5, which is surprisingly hard to do. Under 50 and no budget, because we don't want the GOAD to ever go on vacation. We just can't talk about mana-only lands. So without further ado, let's get brewing. My heart is filled with joy. We're talking CEDH month. It's all competitive. It's all disgusting. It makes me so happy. So we're starting the year off with one of our great friends of the GOAD. His The Goose is Loose, Kykar Wind Fury CEDH deck.
The Goose is Loose. Awesome name.
Yeah,
awesome.
Really great.
Awesome, I believe, also Alter by Marketing Ross.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
There's an outstanding altar by Marketing Ross.
Piece was never an option, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, that alt art, the Goose is indeed loose.
Part of the reason why the CEDH deck is still together in this form.
So, BigTuck, why don't you read what Kykar does? And then the GOAD, why don't you kind of tell us why you chose Kykar, what kind of put you down this path to make a CEDH deck?
All right, thank you. It's much easier to read in person. So Kykar Wind's Fury is a 3/3 legendary creature bird wizard. It's a mythic rare from M20. costing 1 and Jeskai. That is blue, red, white. It's flying. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Sack a spirit, add a red. The Raging Gale fans the flames of righteous wrath.
So yeah, GOAD, how did you choose? I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, when this got previewed, you immediately called
Yeah,
it.
It was like
instantly
a
called
snap dip, right?
I've been a big fan of Jeskai colors for a very long time. Like, I just like the way that they work.
Sure.
Oh, so you like playing bad decks?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
okay, so
I
you
thought
just
we
have-
established
Well,
this.
we're talking about CEDH.
You just have all the access to all the removal at all the times.
Yeah.
So
But I was really, like, when it got previewed, like, it was the first one that really kind of, I was like, oh, wow, I really want to build around that. So I was like, let's call dibs first and let's see what we're going to do with it.
Okay. Sure.
So it went through a couple different versions. Right around the time I started watching some gameplay videos regarding CEDH, very popular people, Spike Feeders, Playing with Power, those kind of guys, watch their videos. I'm like, I kind of want to try my hand at that. So I started looking around, seeing what people were saying about Kykar, and eventually kind of put this list together. Threw around a joke to our friend Marketing Ross. I'm like, okay, would it be fun if we did Untitled Goose Game for an altar here? He goes, I'll do that for you. And did an outstanding job. And after I saw how great it was and how the deck, I was like really kind of happy with it.
Yeah.
I'm like, this needs to happen.
Yeah.
I have a question for you. May I get my hands on your Goose?
Oh, yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and I remember, I think I've played this deck a handful of times, and it is definitely one of those decks to where, I don't know, you tell me if you feel I feel like your deck's just really kind of focused in your own bubble. You're not really concerned a whole lot with what everyone else is doing. It's just you're trying to ramp, dig, get through your library as quick as you can till you can get to your combo piece. And then any counter magic or removal stuff that's really just to protect your board. I don't know if you're really using it too much against your opponents. How do you feel the deck kind of plays?
It definitely does go like that, where you're more solitary, trying to do your thing and then protect your thing. It was way further into the whole solitaire plan at the very beginning.
Yeah.
I'm starting to move it as, I'm getting more and more into CEDH and kind of seeing how it plays. I'm getting a little bit more like better at putting in certain cards.
Oh, okay.
And I am, one of the things that I am adding is a little bit more interaction.
Okay.
To go out and try to interrupt people, because right now it's, as much as I love playing solitaire at a table of 3 other people playing solitaire, I like to interact a little bit.
That's why I hate CEDH.
So, Tuck, I know you're not a big CEDH guy, so when you looked at the deck list, what were your first thoughts?
So I had 3. One was, shame on you for using Architect, that piece of software that makes it impossible to read and impossible to copy and paste. It is not possible to do it. And it's so stupid. I tried to hack to the HTML underneath it, and you can't even do that because it loads through JavaScript. So first, shame on you. Second off, GOAD, as always, you're on thin ice. Just get that out there. And third, I actually like the Commander a lot. I think it's very unique in its style, and I wanted to ask you, because I have no idea about the trappings of CEDH because I'm not a complete monster. Is this something that you see him, her, it, her?
I think that card's a dude.
Her, him. Okay, so is this
Any
something?
combination of those, we're good to go.
Just sound like you're on a record scratch.
Him. I can't him. Help! I can't him. Can't lose him. Get out of him.
I'm going to remix that.
No,
not the rhubarb barber.
You stop that. So, how often do you see this in? Like, is this something that you see often played in CEDH? Is this one of the top tier decks, or like most commonly played? Because this is the first time I'd ever heard of it, right?
I don't think so. I think it's fairly fringe. A lot of my gameplay experience with CEDH has really been at conventions. And as we know, 2020 wasn't a great year for conventions.
Yes. Yep.
So I haven't gotten to see a lot. I have seen a couple videos about them online, and they kind of go the same idea I'm going a little bit. But yeah, it's not a popular one by any means.
Cool.
Well, if we look over at your mana cost to production, you have a perfect pie equal of all 3 colors. But what you need seems like you need, I don't know, 40% more blue.
I also I think this is where I'm going to interject into this conversation and then come right out of it. this deck costs $3,600. And I'm guessing of that is in the land base, but like Mr. Combo's deck we're talking about in the future, it's a little off.
Wow. So $1,600 on the lands, but his grain section's $1,400.
There's a fair bit of, reasonably expensive mana rocks in the grain section.
A fair bit of reasonably expensive mana rocks, he says.
That's all I have to say about the
to the tune of $1,400.
And then
conventions.
Is that something that you've ever... So Mr. Combo and I, we never even really looked at that back in the day, but that's something we've really, tracked. Is that something that you track on, or is this just the land base that seems to work for you?
This one's just seems to work for me.
All right. Fair enough.
Easy enough.
There we go. Well, and then CMC, it's a 2.1.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Hella low.
Whoa.
But the crazy thing is I'd say that's average for CEDH. 2.1, maybe 2.4 might be middle of the road.
Yeah.
Under
right,
3
kind of
is
around
like the immediate cutoff.
Closer
right?
to 2 is where you kind of want to stay.
Yeah. And I mean, there's some decks that if you're above 1.5, it's like, bad news bears.
Seriously?
Yeah, because like I think Power Urza, that runs extremely low CMC because you run all the 0-drop artifacts and they all tap for mana.
Right.
Everything that has an X spell, do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let's get brewing. I'm very interested for this grain section because there's some cards in here that I've even kind of struggled putting in my CEDH decks. They're in there. I just struggle like, why are they even in? So, Goad, why don't you start us off with it being your deck? What's your first card you want to talk about?
Well, I think we better start off. And when you don't talk about CEDH, you need to talk about the grainiest of the grains, the one grain card that everyone's going to think of. We're going to talk about Mystic Remora.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Pay the fish.
I know. You never want to feed the fish. Those are the rules. Sometimes, people have given me cards off of it. I mean, sometimes you can draw like 5-6 cards with this thing for 1 mana. And that's ridiculous.
Yes.
I really like it. I mean, the cumulative upkeep is not that bad, really. Mm-hmm. And, you can a lot of times draw 8, 9, 10 cards.
I would assume somewhere in the $1,400 you have the mana to pay for the cumulative upkeep.
No, well, so here's how. So Mystic Remora, if you're not familiar with it, single blue. The cumulative upkeep is one color, so it goes 1, then 2, then 3, and it adds up. And so whenever it's actually just now errated, whenever an opponent successfully casts a non-creature spell, you may draw a card. That player may pay 4 to counter that effect. Mm-hmm. So what I've always seen is turn 1, someone plays it, everyone groans and gets pissed. Goes around the table. People purposely do not play anything.
Don't play anything? Oh.
And then they'll pay for the cumulative upkeep at least once. It goes around again, and then usually they let it die that second time, unless they went like Soul Ring, Mana Crypt, and you just have extra stuff to pay it. I don't normally see Mystic Remora last more than a cumulative upkeep 2, maybe 3.
Well, and the only question I had is I think this is a good card. I think I wish I would have bought 100 of them when they were $1.
Oh my gosh, I know.
Like someone said on, I think, Goldfish, and I was like, it's never gonna grow up, but here we are. But I was gonna say the thing I don't love about it is if it's kind of like burgeoning, where if you get it out early, cool, but later in the game it's kind of a dead drop. But in CEDH there is no later in the game, right? Because it's like if you get this out and if you get this out for 1 between turn 1 and 5, if it gets even that far into it, you're only gonna get your value off it, right?
So I will say that's a misconception about CEDH, and Goat, I don't know if you agree with me. People are always like, CEDH is like turn 2, turn 3, turn 4 wins. A lot of CEDH games go turn 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Yeah, you can get that way.
Yeah.
It definitely has the same kind of thought process that like Legacy does, where everybody thinks, it's all the most powerful everything and everybody's trying to do this and it's going so quick. And a lot of times, well, not a lot of the times, some of the times it can turn into a really grindy affair.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha. Oh, like the counterspell off that you were talking about.
Yes. So that's the difference with CEDH versus EDH. EDH is going to do twice as many turns, but a CEDH game, if everyone's playing appropriate decks, it may go to only turn 6, but each turn cycle may take 15, 20 minutes.
Right.
Because there's just a lot of stuff happening.
A lot of interaction and that sort of thing, sure.
Yep.
All right. Well, my first card is probably one of the ones that Tuck picked, because I know he hates CEDH, and he tries to find at least interesting things to talk about. I like this one because it's like a one-sided Wheel of Fortune, which Wheel of Fortune's even something I struggle with in CEDH, and I'll get to that probably next week when we talk about my CEDH deck. So I know. Do you guys have this card?
It wasn't one of the ones I picked, but I know which one you're talking
Does
about.
it have two sides?
Yes, it does.
Here we go.
All right.
Wait, hold on. Where's the tambourine?
Oh, God. Here's a cat.
Yeah, that's fine. Hi, buddy.
Shake the cat.
It's not working.
Oh, Noodle's not a fan of that.
Okay.
All right.
Wait.
Yeah!
Ah, shit. 3, 2, 1. Valakut Awakening! All right, that's 2 colorless red. It's an instant. Put any number of cards from your hand on the bottom of your library, and then draw that many cards plus 1.
I'm gonna hold on to this. And then its backside is.
I got flavor text, you SOB.
Well, I can't read the card.
My ancestors reshaped the world to their vision. I have a few ideas of my own. Tars Olin, Stoneforge Mystic.
Oh, interesting. Valakut, it could be played as Valakut Stoneforge, which is a land. It enters the battlefield tapped, and you can tap it for a red. I can hear the echo of their hammers, long stilled. Tars Olin, Stoneforge Mystic as well.
Damn you, blind SOB.
He just shoved his computer screen into his face.
So I
there's a zoom function.
I think these modal cards are fantastic for CEDH because in CEDH you want options, you want ways to kind of speed through your deck. So this helps speed through your deck, get you closer to your combo. But if it's in the GOAD's opening hand and it's like it's my only land, but I have like an amazing turn 2 play because all of these other cards are just straight money, he might be like, well, I could probably dump my hand turn 2. I might as well just keep it. And that's something to where like a normal card like Wheel of Fortune, it's just like, oh, I have it. Do I want to keep it?
Yeah, for sure. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but if there's other things where if you discard X, you get Y, you can discard it either way, right?
What do you mean?
You can discard this as a land or as a non-land.
No,
correct?
So it's always a non-land when it's in the deck, the graveyard, and in your hand. Okay. But then when you play it, you're able to play it for either side.
One. Okay, so it's always the face card.
Yes.
On it. Got it. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I agree with that, and I think it's interesting that like this card is making waves across all formats.
Oh, really? I didn't know
like
that.
it's starting to climb in price because it's a modality. So to me, it was just surprising to see this in EDH or CEDH rather. Is it played? Is it starting to get played more often?
Well, this card has been in my deck for exactly one game.
Okay.
And I have cast it exactly 0 times.
Yeah. Okay.
And I just really like everything you guys said about what it can do. Mm. This is one of those, like, we all know one of those cards where you're like, on paper, this can be outstanding. I just need to see it played in practice. Right, yeah. But yeah, it comes in as a land. I mean, at worst, it can get me 1 card in my hand, like just 1 draw. And I mean, it's an instant. You can play it whenever. Triggers Kykar, gets me a spirit. That's pretty big. So
well, the only thing that it does suck at is that if you have no cards in hand except for this, you get 0.
Well, you get that.
Is it how it works? Right? You get that many plus 1.
Plus 1.
Yeah. So it's always
at least a cycle.
Yeah, and yes.
Sorry, it's this architect crap.
I zoomed in.
I just need to start passing around my glasses. Who's up next?
Everybody need a magnifying glass.
And since we matched, it's your time of the cast for round 2.
What?
Yeah. So now
sign up for this.
Now we're enjoying an Everything Rhymes with Orange IPA from our pals down in Roughtail Brewing in Oklahoma City. So cheers, my dears. Oh, that's good.
Oh my god!
Oh, it's delicious.
I'm gonna throw up.
It's very orangey. Do you want a little?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
I think as long as my reactions keep being this, he wants nothing to do with it.
Correct.
Perfect.
So you're telling me Tuck and I have to overreact on how good it is?
Yeah, exactly. to even it out.
All right. So BigTuck, we shared on that. Yes. What is your last grain?
So this is another one that I'm surprised to see because I think I know what it's in here for. But this is a 2-drop tutor that is shockingly expensive in my books.
Yeah.
Because I've realized it's never been reprinted. Is this anyone? Okay, so Merchant Scroll. Colorless in a blue. It's a sorcery. It costs about $7, which is wild.
Really?
Yeah, right?
Search I have a couple of
Search the library for blue, instant, or interrupt. Reveal that card to all players and put it into your hand. Reshuffle your library afterwards. So pretty much it's like a Mystic Remora that only gets instants. Or sorry, it's a mystical tutor that only gets instants at sorcery speed. But when I read this card, this just says, pay colorless in a blue, take Cyclonic Rift out of your deck, put it into your hand, and then wait, and then pass the turn.
Or go get Mystic Tutor.
Go get Mystical Tutor.
It is a card that, it does search for, it's very limited in what it searches for, but one of the cards it searches for, and we'll talk more about the combos at the end, or whenever we get to the East section.
Sure.
But it also searches for dramatic reversal.
Oh, okay.
Which is 50% of
one of the combos in here, yes.
And then the other thing that it can also do, because you never counter the counter spell, or you never counter the tutor, you counter the spell they get. You can just go get a card that I'm going to talk about in the hop section. It's a counter spell that can't be countered. So it's like,
gotcha.
I'm about to go off. Let me go ahead and start my train. And if someone's like, no, it's like, okay, well, I got this. It's almost like having Grand Abolisher on your side of the board.
Yeah, okay, cool. So I was shocked to see it was $8 or $7, and I thought it was cool to see it in a CEDH deck.
Cool. All right, Goad, what's your last one?
Well, the last one, looking through the grains, it's all of them are really straightforward. But the one I kind of wanted to talk about mainly because I don't know if Tyler listens to this podcast or what's his nickname? Scary Tyler?
Terrifying Tyler.
Terrifying Tyler, yeah.
But,
TT.
he plays a lot of Legacy, and we're talking about Brainstorm. Which is just it's pretty simple. 1-drop instant, draw 3 cards, take 2 of them, put it on top of your library. So I have a lot of ways to search in my deck, and I know a very popular Legacy play, which is something that Tyler would be proud of me for, is Brainstorm. Put the 2 things on your top of your deck that you don't like, and then fetch. And then it's it's like you just draw 2 cards, and he does that all the time. And I just wanted him to know that I do that too now.
Yeah,
and I want him to be proud of me.
So wait, so you Brainstorm with that on the stack you fetch?
Well, after it resolves.
Okay,
because then you Brainstorm, put the 2 crap ones that you want.
Oh, okay.
And then you fetch.
Okay.
Yep.
But there's still the risk that they could be right back in the same spot.
You're not wrong.
Correct.
That is probability.
You are not wrong.
Yeah, Brainstorm's just basically, I think it's can we all just agree that is a blue staple?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're running blue, I don't think
in
there's a
any
reason.
color,
There's
color
not a
combination.
reason.
What version are you running?
I have the Ice Age version.
Okay, I was about to say, if
the
you
OG.
don't, I would happily run upstairs and give you one.
What other version would you run?
The one with the weird brain? Ugh.
Yeah, that one's weird.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, there's one. There's
There's
a
Iconic
Jace spellbook
Masters.
one. That's
Double Masters.
I think I have the full art one from Double Masters. in
Yeah,
mine.
right.
That'd be okay. That'd be an okay one.
but the OG one, you can't beat it.
No,
Looks great.
kind of like the OG counterspell. Really?
Oh, you like that one? The
I
one
just
where it's like this and the failings?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Actually,
interesting.
I'm going to run and give everybody a Merry Christmas present. Talk on.
A brainstorm?
I just looked up
I'm thinking I can feel a storm coming. These most recent normal printing of it, I hate, with the girl and it's like blue. It's terrible.
Oh,
Anyway.
that one's all right. All right. Well, my last one, it's a white staple, in my opinion. Any white deck should run it, unless I guess you have green. It's always one of those weird ones. But I've actually been able to plot this down in the CEDH game, and it just dominates Smothering Tithe.
Oh, sure.
It's a card that, honestly, I think a lot of CEDH people, I'm not sure, I'm just guessing, would maybe say it's a little too high CMC for what it does. 4 mana, and maybe you're getting a mana to your mana pool. But I know, Goad, we talked about this precast, and you had said one of your strategies in this is you got to get to infinite mana, and then you can kind of do a thing. Well, what is the one thing that universally happens in CEDH games? Yes, counterspells. But people drawing 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cards a rotation, like an individual, happens all the time. And people don't normally have extra mana to waste on not paying for your Smothering Tithe. So a lot of times it's like, fine, have the treasure.
Sure.
It's kind of also a little bit like Rhystic Study in a way, to where Rhystic Study, it's 1, so people are a little bit more willing to pay it, but paying 2 for every card you draw?
Yeah, it's kind of bonkers.
Oh man, that's awful. And are you going to really stop your value engine and not draw cards because they have a Smothering Tithe? No. You're going to keep doing your thing.
No one's going to pay the 2 anyways. Like
I pay the 2?
Well, it's because you're a fool. And that's why you die.
I try to pay the 2 every time, and no one else ever does.
Ooh, Squee just passed me over the 2 cards that we were just talking about.
Oh, that's hilarious.
From his endless binder of old commons. These are great.
I got more. Don't worry.
Don't
I do
you
really
worry.
like this counterspell art because you can just look in the dude's face. He's all like, what?
He just looks so sad. And Mark Poole.
I got all the old counterspells art. They're all sitting here. Whatever you want. Multiple. I got.
All right, we get it. You open the treasure trove. Take a drink.
So I'm
Happily.
curious, Goad, have you been able to plant down Smothering Tithe in a CEDH game yet?
I think I did it once.
Did it do kind of like how I was describing?
Yeah,
You
it,
just
it
ended up
helped.
getting a crap ton of
It helped. I
treasures?
don't think I ended up winning that game, but I did do it once, and I did get a fair bit of value out of it. Like I was in a position, I think I was in a position to win, but just didn't happen, which happens.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up the ramp and grain section. Now we're going to head over to the board state and hop profile. And BigTuck, why don't you start this one off? What is your first hop card?
So I'm trying to continue the train of, I'm surprised this makes the cut in CEDH. So I'm talking about another old card that has finally gotten reprinted to be under $1, which I think is right where it needs to be. And it also has recently gotten reprinted into destroy mode. It's a counter spell, but it slaps and then gives a tickle.
Little slap and tickle.
Little slap in the tickle. So I want to talk about Arcane Denial.
Oh,
So
I was just
I
like, what are you
understand now.
Mr. Khan was like, Godfather, if you listen, call the police. So Arcane Denial is a colorless and a blue. It's an instant counter target spell, full stop, which I think is awesome for the mana and everything there. That spell's controller may draw up to 2 cards at the beginning of the next turn's upkeep, and then you draw a card, which is funny now that I'm rereading it. So the things I like about this in a lot of decks is it's another straight counter spell.
Yep.
Right?
No condition.
If you, and we've talked about this before on the cast or maybe outside of it, if you counter the right spell at the right time, for those playing the home game, Squee McGee just used a pair of pliers to open a beer, which is just very strange.
That's just one step away from him just biting off the top.
The Godfather taught me how to open a beer with any rigid thing. Well, that sounds weird.
So, counters spell, full stop. If you, the way that we've talked about in the past is that it's powerful that if you counter the right spell at the right time using it, it doesn't matter that they draw 2 cards because you can just say, nope, I'm stopping your combo, and now you have to work your way around it, right? And also reading now, the May, I think it's also funny that it's the opponent's May, but you have to draw. So again, I think this is a cool inclusion. I don't know if there's better counter spells for CEDH, but this has always been my kind of, if you're playing multiple colors, don't have a spare counter spell lying around, this one does kind of like the next best thing.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason I think it sees CEDH play is because it costs 2 and it's unconditional.
Right.
And a lot of times when you're countering in CEDH, it's to stop the game-winning piece. So to your point, the drawing the extra couple cards is not that big of a deal.
And it's a colorless in blue, too.
Yeah, that's huge, too.
Especially in a 3-color deck.
Yeah. Especially when you only have, listen, we all understand that when you only have $1,600 to throw in your land base, being able to eliminate a pip on a counter spell is just worth its weight in gold.
Yeah, and I really like Arcane Denial, and it's for a reason. Like Mr. Combo just said a little bit ago, it's like when you want to counter something, it's countering the big important thing.
Yeah,
and especially or protecting your own combo. I mean, I want a combo off. I don't care if you draw 2 cards, after you're dead. Yeah. So it's I think it's a really good card. It is kind of one of the one, and also it replaces itself. So there's a lot of good there.
It cantrips a little bit.
Yeah. So it is one that I always hold on to when I'm thinking about maybe cutting it for something else. But then I think about everything it can do, and I'm just like, we'll just hang on to it for now.
Yeah, and I think this will relate a lot to a card that we'll talk about next week in mine, to where it's one of these conditional, I get something, but my opponent gets something, but theirs is a little bit delayed. And it's like, well, I'm only using this, just like I'm sure the GOAD's only going to use probably an Arcane Denial. If it's you are either I'm 100% going to win the game right now. I know if I counter if I counter this, I've won the game. So they're not even going to get to draw the 2 cards, or I literally have to stop whatever they're doing, or they just win.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's kind of fun because it gives you that 4D chess vibe when you're playing. Because who knows? He may have Arcane Denial, but then my card, Dovin's Veto.
Oh, hey, nice.
Yeah. He, maybe between those two, and it's like, well, which one do I use at this exact instance? Because Dovin's Veto is a white-blue instant. This spell can't be countered. Counter target non-creature spell.
Right.
And I see you've learned nothing. Chandra. Man, I don't know why I put that big of a pause with a comma.
Yeah, I was like, I can't talk. I refuse to jump on that bandwagon because, again, I can't read. But this voice is great, by the way.
You'd still put a match to something rather than understand it. So
That sounds exactly what I think Dovin would sound like.
it's like a little
really
weird
does.
Yoda.
Yeah, right.
Someone
Someone doesn't get out much.
Yeah, probably into the theater scene.
Poor Dovin, he didn't deserve this.
I hate Dovin. Hey, new bit. Dovin sucks.
He's on it. He's on the train. I like it.
Hashtag D sucks.
Yeah,
that
hashtag-
could go
Ooh,
that could go
let's
a long
not-
way.
no,
That could go a
no,
long
don't-
way.
You're not gonna get the same pictures you thought.
That is a dangerous Google, my friend.
I love Dovin's veto because it cannot be countered.
Yeah.
And so many things like Flusterstorm and other cards like that exist, Force of Wills, that just because you've countered whatever they're going to do, maybe to their counterspell to you, doesn't mean that someone else doesn't have a counterspell.
Yep.
Or if that same person doesn't have 3 of them in hand and they're all free to play. So Dovin's veto, it's just like, well, crap. Now I got to do another loop-de-loop rigmarole type deal to get to the original spell I wanted to counter. I like it. I'm wondering, is it hard to play because it is white-blue?
I wouldn't say hard. It's
Okay.
not as easy as some other counter spells,
Okay.
but it's not hard.
To be fair,
To be fair.
fair.
Counterspell is,
2 blue.
which is also equally hard in a 3-color deck, right? Or would it be harder? 2 blue versus splitting them?
2 blue technically would be harder to get because your pile of blue you could pull from is getting smaller.
Smaller, right.
Math.
You got me.
GOAD. Hop. Now.
Well, running off of what you said about the 2 blue, I am going to pick a 2 blue cost spell.
Counter spell.
Kind of.
I was like,
kind of.
is that
Kind
a
of.
Tamar signal?
Well, you guys know how big a fan I am of modality, so I want to talk about Muddle the Mixture.
Yeah!
Was this one of yours? Yeah, this card's great. Well, I'll just go ahead and read until you yell at me to stop, and then you can go on from there.
I can't use Architect. I want you to read the whole thing.
Oh, fair enough. All right, so Muddle the Mixture is a 2-drop 2 blue instant that counters target instant or sorcery spell.
Yep.
Which, let's be honest, that's the part of the card that you cast the least.
Yeah.
The other ability it has is Transmute for 1 and 2 blue. You discard it, search your library for a card with the same converted mana cost as it, reveal it, and put that card into your hand. But you can only do that as a sorcery.
$6? What?
Yeah, I'm looking through a lot of the prices right now on Architect, just as I'm selecting the cards, and I'm like, I'm not sure why that's there. No, this card's great. It searches for so much. It searches for, it can search for Dramatic Reversal. It can search for False Dawn, Impact Tremors, a card that I may or may not talk about in the future that I'm going to add. And it also can
25
search for
2-drops. So
yeah, it can also
tons.
search for Merchant Scroll, which can search for Mystical Tutor.
Then you can use that to go and search for Dramatic Reversal.
The search and the search and the search. But yeah, no, I totally picked this for all the reasons you just said. This literally tutors up either real counter magic that you need, or your game winners, which even I'm adding a 2 CMC spell for another game-winning combo.
I just had an idea. Instead of Inception, Insertion, where you use a search to search to search to search to search.
I like that.
Write that down.
What do you, Vampiric Tutor and put Demonic Tutor on top of your library?
Yeah.
Yes,
Then use
exactly.
Demonic
And then you
Tutor?
Demonic Tutor find Diabolic Tutor, then then you use that to find Diabolic Intent, sack a creature, and you have to
And then you have to use that to go get, it begins with an I, and it has flashback.
Infernal
No.
Pacts? No, it's the tutor, right? With the guy with the skull thing?
Yeah. Gosh, and I just cut it from a deck too.
What?
Yeah.
No wonder you don't know what it
my,
is.
it was in my CEDH deck.
Oh, right.
But anyways, yeah, card's awesome. I'm glad it's in here. I will say though, just curious, have you put all the tutors you have in the deck in here, or is this because like you said, you're not really using it for the counter spell. It seems weird to pay 3 to tutor at sorcery speed
For only 2.
For only 2. So I'm just curious, have you put all of the tutors you can in the deck?
I've put all the ones that I own in the deck.
Okay.
Now, whether or not there's more, I'm not sure about, but I want to reiterate, 2 is an incredibly important number for this deck.
Yes. Right.
Isochron Scepter, Dramatic Reversal, Impact Tremors.
So you say 2 is not the loneliest number.
No.
Not in this deck. Not in Kykar's house.
All right. Well, BigTuck, round out your last hop.
So this is another. I did it again. Another card that I'm excited to see in the CEDH deck. And it also has, I think, really cute art featuring an elephant. So I want to talk about our old pal, Generous Gift. So 2 colorless and a white. It's an instant destroy target permanent. Its controller puts a 3/3 green elephant creature token into play. The best presents are impossible to regift, which is also incredible. So this is a really good removal spell in the same sense that Beast Within, its green counterpart. Of course, it's in green, because why not? And now they have to reprint green cards into white just to make it better.
I like how they put green in the white card even, because it's a green elephant.
Right, yes, exactly. So,
Which that was a complete miss. They should have done a white elephant. White elephant gift exchange.
That is really good.
Perfect.
Damn it.
They probably just didn't want to make another token.
Yes, right. Oh my god.
Because we need slots for zombies.
Oh, all these tokens from these decks are pulling apart.
Fire!
It's a nightmare. Yeah, no kidding. So again, I just think it's really cool that it's in the deck because it is pretty much non-situational removal. But since this is a relatively new card, was there one that you cut to put this in because it is so modal?
It's not that
No,
new.
this one actually
one
actually made it into the deck when it was created.
Okay.
And this is another one of those ones where I'm like, I'm not sure I should be running it. But then I always think about, times I've used it.
Yeah,
you get that montage, like Goodbye Goggles, and that montage. Singing Time of Our Life in the background while you're thinking about cutting it. You're like, no, I can't do it. Let's find something else.
Man, late 90s Green Day reference. Wow.
Jeez. Well, GOAD, round us out. Give us your last hop.
Well, this is a card because that I really like. I packed it. It was a lot of fun. It's one of my favorite cards to play in formats that isn't going to get me slapped. I'm a really big fan of Teferi the Time Raveler.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. And you try to play this in literally any other format, and you will get slapped. And Twisted Tea can just... But okay, so I'll go ahead and read it. So Teferi Time Raveler, for those of you who don't know what it is.
AKA the new thing that you can say is, instead of saying that,
Baby
you
Teferi.
can simply say, for those playing the home game.
Oh, yeah, right. For those playing the home game.
Doesn't that feel great?
It feels good. It feels good.
He's not going to get a bumper sticker of it.
You don't know that. He's already got the tattoo.
Why don't we have for those playing the home game bumper stickers?
I put one on my car.
Let's think about
Do people still do bumper stickers? Sure.
Yeah.
Oh.
Put it on your water bottle.
Like
I don't give a
things to put on water bottles and stuff.
Yeah. Put it on your computer.
We'll talk offline.
Okay.
Where was I? All right, reading the card. So it is a white and a blue for a planeswalker. It has a static ability where each opponent can only cast spells only at any time they can cast a sorcery.
So to pause there, is that one of the core reasons you put this card in the deck? Because you want to stop people from doing instants?
Oh, a great amount, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's quite large.
I'm quite jealous I can't put that in my CEDH deck.
Oh, right.
So its +1 is until your next turn, you may cast sorcery spells as though they had flash, which is neat, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then its -3 is to bounce an artifact, creature, or enchantment to its owner's hand, and I get to draw a card. So usually what happens when I cast Teferi is I bounce a thing, draw a card, and then just hope it doesn't die.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, that's good enough for me. If I get the attention off my face for a second, get it onto his, it's really good. And you can also cast it if you've got like an abundance of mana to protect your combo. There's a lot of utility you can do. Also,
and it's another thing that can bait out a counter spell. If you're like, I got my combo, but I don't have enough counter magic to maybe take on the other 2 blue players. Teferi Time Raveler? ? And someone's like, oh, that.
Yeah, exactly.
Counter
Yeah,
spell.
no, thank
Because
you.
they may
Yep.
say in their head, like, okay, saved a turn cycle. I have a chance to draw a card. I can do some stuff.
Right.
And then he's like, okay, I win the game now. And they're like, we were going to lose anyways.
To your point, not only counterspell, but like a generous gift or some of these other like non-conditional removal spells once it's on the battlefield.
But once it's on the battlefield, they can't do it. Because you can
I
only
see
cast a
what you
sorcery.
mean. Not on his turn
Yes.
right away. Gotcha.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that's going to wrap up the hop profile. Now we're going to head over to yeast, and I'll start this off because it's my favorite section. I want to talk about a card that helps get his, because there's only 12 options. It's CEDH. That's what we do. And this thing will transform creatures into game winners.
Get out your tambourine.
Is this it? Is this all of us?
3, 2, 1.
Divergent transformation!
Divergent transformation. It costs 6 colors and is red. It's an instant.
I said it way before you.
It has
I like
Undaunted,
this
which
so
makes
much
it cost
better
1
in
less for
person when
each
you have to
opponent.
literally yell at each
Man,
other.
you got the big paragraph.
This is wonderful. This is
Wait,
wonderful.
no, you haven't read one yet.
Yes, I did. I read off Divergent Transformation. 6 color list in a red.
Well, I figured out the Zoom trick, so here you go.
Coming from the guy that works in IT.
I work in cloud solutions.
Control plus isn't that hard?
This is like how you don't say a stewardess. It's now flight
Yeah,
attendant.
exactly.
I don't work in IT.
Yeah.
I work in cloud transformations.
So, side note, one guy, I got yelled at by an intern at the company I used to recruit for because he's like, I saw that you posted software engineer jobs under the IT on the career site. It's like, yeah. It's like, I don't work for help desk. I'm an engineer. And I was like, you guess who's also not going to be working here? Anyways, exile 2 target creatures. For each of those creatures, its controller reveals cards from the top of his or her library until he or she reveals a creature card, puts that card on the battlefield, then shuffles the rest into his or her library. So, before you explain why this card's in the deck, let me tell you this. I had to spend 15 minutes to figure out why this card's in the deck.
So, GOAD, why is it in the deck?
Well, Divergent Transformations is one of the 2 main combo Go cards. So
Yeah.
what you need to set up is you need to have a certain amount of mana, Kykar, and then 2 spirits. So that's what you need to have in play. So you cast Divergent Transformation, you exile the 2 spirit tokens, then you reveal cards from top of the library until you get to 2 creatures, do all that rigmarole.
And he only has 2 creatures in the deck.
Oh, yeah, that's right. So I definitely get to choose which 2 cards I put into play. So those 2 creature cards are, if I could scroll, there we go. Come on. Architect on the tablet is not working for me tonight.
Architect on
Wow. From the creator himself.
Architect on the IBM Watson server farm doesn't work as well as tapped out. Just put it on tapped out, people. It's not that hard.
Well, okay. I lost my train of thought again.
The 2 creatures that Goes gets, right?
It's like whenever he yells at me, I lose my train.
I know.
Yeah, right?
It's traumatizing.
How do you guys get over this?
You got to just learn to
I'm
ignore
now
it.
dead inside.
After years of abuse, you just ignore it.
All right, so one of the first ones is Spellseeker, which when it enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an instant or sorcery with converted mana cost 2 or less.
Can we also talk about how that card's $20?
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another one that I'm really surprised that's so expensive.
$20.
With that,
It's a combo piece.
and then you also go and you find a card called Elsha of the Infinite, which is another really important piece to the combo.
Sounds like it. It's got infinite in the name.
Oh my God, that's right.
Are you sure you didn't drink half that beer?
I'm starting to feel like I did.
Welcome to my life.
So with that card, you may look at the top card of your library and you can cast it if it's a non-creature, non-land, and you can do it if it has flash. So the way, after you get those in play, you use your Spellseeker to search for Enlightened Tutor. You find Enlightened Tutor, you cast it, you put a Sensei's Divining Top on the top of your library, and
you
then
go
you
infinite.
cast it infinite times, draw infinite cards, and from there you just
Win the
can do
game
any
through
number
some different ways.
through any number of different ways.
But you
What a
don't generate
euphemism.
infinite mana, right?
No.
No, but you don't need to really generate infinite mana because you can eventually dig through the deck and find enough artifacts to cast them, use Kykar.
Oh,
then the
the zero
artifacts.
drop artifacts.
Yeah, zero drop
Okay,
artifacts.
got
Then
it.
you can set up something else. Or you can just go all the way through and put Jace, Wielder of Mysteries in play and draw cards and lab man yourself, which for those playing the home game, if you don't know, those are if you try to draw a card when your library is empty, you win the game instead of lose.
So
Basically, you don't let him resolve that.
Yeah, don't.
right. So this whole thing, and this is one of the reasons why I like this deck more so than a lot of the other CEDH decks. CEDH decks?
CEDH decks. I'm saying I'm from Kansas.
So this is a true Rube Goldberg deck, in that you have to jump through all these weird infinite loop cycles on top of each other's. But then you also have normal infinite cycles in here too, just in case those get too complex.
Yep.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, and the funny thing, though, is because, spoiler alert, we actually had an episode for CEDH month recorded that would have came out before this, but my audio messed up. So now me and Tuck are recording that New Year's Day. God help us.
So that's going to be a weird one.
Let's just say it's going to be sweaty.
Yeah, I was going to say it's going to be wet.
Oh, I'm going to be wet. I'm sure. I'm going to be still sweating from the night before. But Big Tuck in that one, because that was technically our first one, was like, I just hate CEDH. And by the end of the episode, it's like, I kind of like this like weird like loop that you kind of have to go through to get it done. And now here we go, second one in a row. He's saying the same thing. So I think secretly he does like CEDH. He just is on this platform and he can't get off.
I like the loop aspect of CEDH. I just hate the fact that it's 4 people playing solitaire and you're all just rushing towards one goal as soon as you possibly can.
This man should play stacks.
Yeah.
No, that's even worse.
Well, Big Tuck, what is your second one?
So this is one I didn't get, and I don't still get it, and you referenced it earlier.
Is it a white sorcery?
Yes.
Okay, that's mine.
Okay.
I cut that real quick.
So
I'm curious to hear what you guys say.
So 3, 2, 1. False Dawn. And it's a colorless and a white second.
Okay, so... Oh, did you want to say something about it first?
No, I want you to read the card.
I think all I had to say was second.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, as he said, the card's name is False Dawn. It's 1 and a white, and it's a sorcery. So it has 2 effects. The first one is colored mana symbols on all permanents I control, and on all cards I own that aren't in play become white until end of turn. And then I get to draw a card, which is neat.
Okay.
But the reason why this is in there is because it will change... to keep it as simple as I can, it will change Kykar's Sacrifice a Spirit, generate a red to a white, and then it'll also change literally every other mana symbol in the deck to a white mana symbol.
Okay.
So I can cast anything I want at any time just using Kykar and the abilities with that. So,
but how are you generating the infinite mana?
There's a couple of different ways.
So it's still another Rube Goldberg machine to get to this thing.
Yeah, I mean, one of the ways you can do it is off of the Dramatic Reversal and the Dramatic Scepter combo, since he's making infinite spirits with that. That you could just cast all your spells. It's a really neat little inclusion. I understand why you would want to cut it, but it does help me really with a lot of the fixins on it too.
I do love fixins on my baked potatoes.
It is cute.
Another hot thought real quick.
Cute.
Wizards Rube Goldberg machine would be a sweet secret lair drop. That one I would buy.
And it's just the
what would it be?
Grinding station, blasting station combo. The original machine.
Okay, so I understand it a little bit more now. It looks like you're still having to piece at least 4 pieces together, maybe 5 to make it work. Because, all right. Well, definitely the card I'm adding is not as sexy as that, but we'll get to that in a bit. So my last one is one that does work even if you can't generate infinite mana, but because you're storming off. So Grape Shot is something that with what was described with the Divergent Transformation is just money. And it actually took me a second to realize, like, wait, how are you doing this? So colorless red sorcery. Grape Shot deals 1 damage to target creature or player, and it has Storm. So when you play this spell, copy it for each spell played before it this turn. You may choose new targets for the copy. Mages often seek to emulate the powerful relics Lost to Time and Apocalypse. Not the bad X-Men movie.
That movie was bad. That was atrocious.
It was awful.
Yeah, that was really bad.
Yeah.
Did you see Dark Phoenix?
Yes.
That made Apocalypse look like a Martin Scorsese movie. It's horrible.
Dark Phoenix wasn't good.
No.
It's just the big bad villains sucked.
You have Jessica Chastain, one of the most attractive redheads on the planet, and you make her blonde? It's an insult. As soon as I saw that in the trailer, I was like, this movie's going to suck.
So basically, guys, with this, if he gets his Dramatic Scepter combo, he just wins because he does it in 1,000,000 times and he blasts everyone in the face for 1,000,000 as long as it doesn't get countered. Well, no, because it's Storm, so it's each individual one. So they have to Fluster Storm.
In response.
No, Grape Shot on the stack, Fluster Storm.
Right.
That would be hilarious, but then I guess you just Dramatic Scepter and then you just do it again.
How does that? Oh, yeah, because you just wait for that to resolve, and then you're like, okay, I still have infinite mana, so
yeah. Oh god, that's
The
hilarious.
machine still goes.
And it's cool to see this because I obviously haven't been playing Magic long enough because I guess Grape Shot was a thing.
Oh, yeah.
At some point, was it like Type 1, Type 2, or is this like a modern thing?
I remember it being, I think, in a Type 1, Type 2. It was pretty effective.
There was like two. From my understanding, there's like 2 Storm cards that were played in whatever version of these decks. It's like Grape Shot in red and then Tendrils of Agony in black. And like both of them, it's like, do you want to go with this one, that one, or both of them?
Gotcha.
So is it Legacy?
Tendrils is good in Legacy. Is this that Storm combo in Legacy is Tendrils. When last I really paid attention to Modern, Storm was still a thing, and Grape Shot was still one of the closers of the deck. The other one was Empty the Warrens. Storm creates 2 goblins.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So yeah, I like that the card's in here. It's kind of cool because it's just one of those things that if you don't think through that thought process, you would never think to put it in your deck. So yeah.
I'm there for it. I think there was a time where people were like, "Oh, it's EDH. You're casting a lot of spells. I'm gonna like slot this in just for fun."
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I know I've done that before. I was like, I'm just gonna throw in a Grape Shot in my Mizzix deck, and then I'm like, or I could put in another take an extra turn spell that does something.
That literally happened to me with my Animar deck because I thought
you're like, oh, it's so Grape Shot because
no, it wasn't Grape Shot. It was the blue one that you like shuffle your library and then reveal the top.
Right.
And I think you just get to play it for free.
Yeah, right.
Mine's Desire. There we go.
That's right.
I had that in my Animar deck forever. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be bouncing creatures left and right just for free all day long. No.
Do you still have that deck?
Yeah.
Downer.
All right. Now we're going to head on to the spice package.
Now, before we get started here,
there's a lot of options.
Yeah, Willie, I just want to tell you, you really outdid yourself here. You took what could have been just a complete train of value, a circus of value, if you will. And I think you really stretched your creative muscles and really built out some creative cards that maybe don't fit so well, but are still like, kind of tied to the deck's theme. I am going to sit out this entire conversation out of protest, and I'll let you two discuss it.
In my defense, compared to a lot of the lists that I see for Kykar, this is a spicy boy.
Compared to the lost episode that we're re-recording and might well be a lost episode. It is true.
I think your protest, you need to sit in the background. Big Tuck will not talk. Big Tuck will not talk.
Deflecting Palm. Porous. Instant. Now you have to read.
Crap. I've been struggling so hard at that tonight. Now you're putting me with this. The next time a source of your choice would deal damage to you this turn, prevent that damage. If damage was prevented that way, Deflecting Palm deals that much damage to that source's controller.
Why is this in the deck?
Okay, so for 2 reasons.
I like the 4 W's you threw into that.
Why? One, I just love the card.
Okay,
it's
fair.
an outstanding card.
That's
spice.
That's spice.
Yeah, it has gotten people a couple of times
What?
before. Yeah, it's gotten people a couple times before, and it has gotten people in our play group before. So then,
You gotta know nobody in CEDH sees this
not with
coming.
Kykar, but with other.
Oh, sure, other decks. I'm talking CEDH.
Oh,
Why?
CEDH, it did get a couple of people. It didn't just outright kill them, but it saved my life and hurt them, both emotionally and physically.
I mean, who's swinging with a big creature, though? If it was to prevent all damage,
so you're out,
and
sir.
then redirect it, then I would get that, because then even the Go Wide Najila decks would be impacted. But just from a source?
That specific instance was me against an Elf Ball player in OKC, and they had cast a Crater Hoof and went, well, Will has already taken damage. We're going to go ahead and just send one guy at him because it'll kill him. And I went, ha, you thought? Deflecting Palm bolted it, got him in the face for like 20. It was amazing.
That's some squeeb shit. I like it.
All right. Well, I'm glad it's got someone. Still don't think it belongs in the deck, but I did not cut it.
This card, if you cast it and you do it once and you play another game with people, you will put the fear of God in someone with this card. You'll sit there with the red white up and they'll be like, can I cast some Deflecting Palm?
And I respect your respect of this card and this deck.
Yeah. No way I'm going to be that villain.
Miss Wealth?
Sure.
Decent.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up the spice package. Now we're going to head to the bottle capping. And as a reminder, there's going to be BigTucks, the Goads and Eyes, cuts and adds to the deck that are going to be under $5, under $50, and a $1 million personal recommendation. We just can't talk about mana-only lands.
And I actually have a bottle to uncap in celebration of our last episode of the year.
Ooh.
So we have a Goose Island Bourbon County brand stout.
Goose.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. Woo! So these are delicious, and my dad.
Is this going to make me sick as
No,
well?
not at all.
Okay.
It's a heavy molassesy dark beer
Okay.
with like negative hop profile. So I think
Negative hop profile.
I think you'll be good. So, Mr.
All right.
Combo, that's for you. This is a fancy one. Will, would you like a little knock? Yeah. Thought so.
Oh, it sounds like chocolate.
After that pun, I gotta go for
you
it.
gotta,
a little,
just gotta have a little taste. Pants, you want a little scotch here?
Of course.
Yeah.
It's better. It has quite the bite.
It's the bourbon barrel aged. So
the head on that is just.
Yeah.
But
good.
I will say the aftertaste is phenomenal.
Well,
Yeah, it's actually
No,
really
I'm
good. I'm good. This will be enough.
I got a lot of heavy drinking to do when I get home.
What's my name? Seriously? Godfather?
That's staying in.
Yeah. from the bleacher.
All right, Goad, we're going to start with you. I want to hear your first card you're going to cut. And what would you like to add to the deck that's under $5?
Well, my under $5 and my personal recommendation are kind of linked together. So I'll read the card, tell you what I'm going to cut, and then I'll save the big explanation for after I get to that.
Like it.
So the card's called Underworld Breach.
What are you going to cut?
I am going to cut a basic plains.
Whoa!
I'm also gonna add Underworld Breach.
Yeah, let's go.
Get the breaches.
Tambourine.
It's a Tambo storm.
Sorry.
But I'm going to cut I'm going to cut the land because 31's a lot for CEDH.
Is it a lot? Like, I'm at 29.
Whenever I talk
like
to anyone about CEDH, they're like, you run 31 lands? And I'm just like, I know. It's just, I have the, I don't even want to say how many years in regular EDH I have where I've been running at minimum, and it causes me pain to go down to 35.
Yeah.
And going down to 30, maybe even below 30 is just hurts me.
Yeah.
But anyway, Underworld Breach. It's a 1/1 red enchantment, and its ability is each non-land card in my graveyard has escape, and that escape cost is equal to the card's mana cost plus exile 3 other cards from my graveyard. And at the beginning of my end step, I have to sacrifice the enchantment.
Yeah. So I'm also putting this in.
What are you cutting?
I am going to cut Return to Dust. And this is
fair.
a big thank you to Mr. Combo, because I really didn't know what this deck was. I couldn't figure it out because I know CEDH textures are optimized. But Return to Dust is 2 colors, 2 white, and you can exile a target instant target artifact or enchantment. And if you cast it during one of your main phases, you get to exile 2. So for me, I think that the easy replacement to Return to Dust would have been like a generous gift or something that was non-conditional removal at maybe a slightly lower mana cost. But the thing why I liked about Underworld Breach is, to my knowledge, I didn't see there's no graveyard recursion. And I don't know if that matters in CEDH, but I couldn't help myself to be like, if you got out lucky, got a lucky draw, and you had all your stuff lined up, right, and all got binned, you're just like, all right, well, I don't know what to do now, right? So this at least gives you a chance to dig back out of the hole that you got put in.
Yeah, I got you.
Right? Does that make sense? Is that?
Yeah, no, I understand
track?
entirely what you're saying. And Return to Dust is definitely a fair cut. It's another one that I'm not too excited
Yeah,
about.
and the reason I had recommended it to BigTuck to cut is only because 4 during main phase is a lot to get rid of 2 things. I think in normal kitchen table EDH or even tuned EDH, I think it's fine.
Yeah.
But in CEDH, where it's just you're trying to spend as little as possible for the most impact, 4 just ain't going to cut it. And if you ever put Return to Dust in and being like, well, I could do it at instant speed, shame on you.
Incorrect. Yeah, no way.
But I love Underworld Breach. It's one of those cards that initially I kind of trashed on it. I was just like, meh, like whatever. It's like a one-time use. But I think you're right, Tuck. If you run a deck that does not have any graveyard recursion in it, even it's off color, but even my Karametra deck, I have loose Graveyard Recursion in there. I got 2 spells, and I got the Emeria Land and the Emeria Angel that has landfall.
Right,
Sounds like its own like deck format now. Loose Graveyard Recursion.
Loose, yeah. And especially in CEDH, what happens if 3 of GOAD's combo pieces get countered, and he's just like, well, F me sideways. Yeah. Like, maybe casting an Underworld Breach, people will be like, oh, well, let's see what happens. Let's see what he tries to get out of it. And then maybe it's, oh, let me do this. Oh, you're going to try to counterspell? Let me escape out Force of Will or disallow.
Absolutely. Or like you have everything in hand, right? And they don't know it. And they thought they got you when they got your Isakron Scepter or whatever the case may be. And they're like, yeah, sure, go nuts. And you're like, I will.
All right. Well, that was both of your guys' under $5 cut and add. My under $5, as I already talked about it earlier, I'm going to cut the False Dawn. And honestly, the reason is I get it that you can now, in theory, try to cast everything in your deck, but I didn't see like Anointed Procession or things to double out or triple out your tokens. So we're still back to that 1-to-1 ratio. So I don't think the Infinite White really does that much personally. But I do believe Whirlwind of Thought would be an amazing card for this deck.
This card is incredible. 1
in Jeskai, so that's the blue, red, white enchantment. Whenever you cast it on a creature spell, draw a card. That's it.
Can't support it. Been on a Weatherlight report. Happy to see it.
I hate this card.
And you only have 3 creatures in your entire 100-card deck. So you're just, every card you cast is pretty much going to be a replacement card for itself. And I don't think that's something you can underlook. Plus, with your top rigmarole, that turns out to be real good. Oh, cast top off the top, draw another card. Oh, okay. Well, all right, let's just flip-flop it. And then you dig through your deck twice as fast.
Right. It's just another way to also get to your Jace Welder Mysteries combo too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Whirlwind of Thought's a really good card. It is definitely one that I've really considered.
And 60 cents, like even if you buy it and it doesn't work.
Whatever.
And you have
no reason why not.
And we didn't talk about this. Underworld of Breach, didn't this used to be like 60 cents? It's like $2 now.
Gets played a lot in Standard?
It gets a lot of play in Legacy.
Oh, okay. It got banned in Standard,
I think going forward, we need to give BigTuck a no longer can mention anything $3 and less as being too expensive.
All right, fair enough. All right,
this is Magic the Gathering. This shit's expensive.
It does get a lot of play in Legacy, and hint, the card that I'm going to bring up as my other card is the reason for that.
All right. Okay. Well, let's move on to under $50. GOAD, start us off. What are you going to cut? And then what are you going to add for under $50?
Well, I'm going to cut Goblin Bombardment.
Aww.
And I'm going to add Aetherflux Reservoir.
Oh.
Yeah.
That was a beautiful response. Everybody was just like, oh, no. Oh, yes. Yes.
Noodle likes it.
Noodle's an Aetherflux Reservoir fan.
All right, so what does Goblin Bombardment do? Why are you cutting it? And then why are you adding an Aetherflux?
Well, Goblin Bombardment's a really simple enchantment, 2-drop, sack a creature, deal 1 damage to a thing.
But isn't that part of your whole infinite token?
You would think so, but a lot of what I'm doing, except for the like dramatic reversal, the main combo with Divergent Transformations, like you mentioned, it's 1-for-1. Like I'm playing the spirit, sacking the spirit immediately. Like I don't have, like I'm not going +1 enough with the spirits to actually do damage.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Goblin Bombardment really is just kind of sits there and does nothing. Whereas with all the infinite casts that I'm doing with Aetherflux Reservoir, I'm gaining the life that I can use to machine gun people.
Yeah.
So to me, I know it's a bigger investment in terms of mana cost, but it is just the superior card between the two. And yeah, I think that one's definitely going to happen just because it gives me that another way to just come in and slam the door shut.
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense.
Now, can you believe that Goblin Bombardment costs? I'm joking.
Under $3.
No.
It's like 6, isn't it? Somewhere in there?
What?
Yeah, it's 5 or 6.
Wow.
Let me guess, you got a bunch of those upstairs.
Where's your binder of Goblin Bombardment?
No, actually, I only have a couple. That's fine.
A couple binders?
A couple binders full of Goblin Bombardment.
Spent $40 on this box, and they were all just Goblin Bombardment.
Amazing.
So BigTuck, what are you going to cut, and what are you going to add for under 50?
So I read an article a long time ago that said there's better options to this card. So if you didn't have all of them, I don't know if I would cut it, but I'm actually going to cut Serum Visions.
Oh.
So it's a blue draw card scry 2. I think the ones that you have in here, Opt, Ponder, Preordain, Brainstorm, I think just all do that better, in my opinion. Because at least those other ones you get to choose what you draw. This one you just draw and then stack your deck.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, I had a real hard time cutting cards for this deck, so I just went with my gut on them. And this card is fresh off the presses. I would wager to guess this card is going to go into a lot of CEDH decks, which I think we're talking about last week.
Yeah.
Hull Breacher. 2 colorless and a blue for flash. If an opponent would draw a card, except for the first one they draw on each of their draw steps, instead you create a treasure token.
Yeah.
I don't need a map to find riches. I also don't need a like this card. It's just really good. And while we were talking, I almost pivoted and cut Smothering Tithe for this because it's mana is shorter. But I think it's good to have redundancy in it. As we talked about in almost a lot of CEDH decks, a lot of them are chasing that, even including this one, are chasing that draw to your
chasing that high.
Yeah, chasing that high of the low library. Yep. And I think having this out both as a way to ramp yourself, as a way to stop people from drawing cards from brainstorms or the myriad of different abilities they have for it, and also to prevent other people's massive win cons, all for 3 mana at flash speed, seems like it's pretty good.
Yeah. I would just venture to guess you haven't had a chance to pick one up, or it would be in here.
Well, Hull
actually,
Breacher isn't going to make it into the list.
Yeah, it can't make it in. It messes up his combo.
Yeah, because it's a creature. It gets in the way of divergent transformations.
Oh, damn it!
So it is a really good card.
Fail.
And I will
go to the corner. Wear your hat.
I will give BigTuck an out here because I am going to add the next card. The big expensive card I'm going to add is going to change. It's going to cause a ripple effect within the deck.
Ooh.
So we will see if Divergent Transformations remains in the deck after that card is added. Yeah. So if that does get cut, Hull Breacher will definitely be a card that I look at to add to the list.
Hey,
cool.
There you go.
All right. Well, my under 50. GOAD, I thought you were a good deck builder.
I'm not.
And then I saw you played Leadership Vacuum in here. What the hell?
No. Dude, I love that card.
2 colorless blue, instant, draw a card, target player, not each opponent, not all players, target player returns each commander they control from the battlefield to the command zone. You know that most CEDH decks don't even need their commander to truly function.
But think about all the Commander Legends partners, the value.
I'm a stand for this card too, Will, so I agree with you.
This card, I see what you're saying, and I agree with most of it. However, this one is more of a meta pick. The people the people down in Wichita that I play with, a lot of them, their ideas of CEDH is like Voltron and that kind of thing. So they make the really big commander, make it untargetable. I just go, put that in your command zone, boy.
Put that away.
Put that.
So if that's a meta pick, but in any other reasonable situation, you would be right.
Well, the card that I'm going to add is just significantly better than it, even with what you've just described. And I'm pretty sure you bought these precons. Why don't you have Fierce Guardianship in here? 2 colorless blue instant. If you control a commander, you may cast it without paying its mana cost. Counter target non-creature spell.
I actually didn't buy any of those precons.
Oh, that has to feel bad.
Yeah, it is. But yeah,
this and deflecting
hit your local
SWAT,
Walmart. They may still be
deflecting
floating around.
Yeah, deflecting SWAT would be a good one to also have in here.
I was going to buy the junk one, and then our good friend Squee betrayed me, and he went out and he bought it first.
What? What? What?
The bug. I thought we was friends.
Do you even play that anymore?
No.
Oh, let's know.
So I
do what you will.
I understand a meta pick with that, but once again, you've said that your deck is more centered around I just need to kind of do my bubble and get to the win. And so I think Fierce Guardianship, while you have Kykar out there and you're doing your rigmarole, oh, you want to do that and you think I'm tapped out? Free counter spell. Get out of here.
Now, and conversely to the counter argument of, so double converse to Leadership Vacuum.
We're double converse in a counter argument to a counter spell.
We are playing CEDH here.
Yes, exactly. I can keep going. This deck does function better with its commander out, right?
Correct.
So that would make sense to your point of if that is a rarity, it is good playing into that with a card like this, right?
Yeah. Like the way I look at Fierce Guardianship in CEDH specifically is you only run it if your deck is centered around your commander. Yeah. So like my Turns and Burns deck, I have it in there and I have the Deflecting SWAT in there because my deck only works if I have Vile Smasher and Thrasios out there.
Right. Yep. Makes sense. So it'd feel real bad if you got Fierce or if you got
leadership vacuum.
Yeah.
But then I just cast Fierce Guardianship.
Oh! And then he casts Force of Will, and then someone else doesn't like how where this is going, so he casts Flusterstorm, and nothing happens.
Of course, Will cast Force of Will. He has to.
Yeah.
It's the force of him.
He's wearing a shirt that has Will on it twice.
I was also surprised to see that Will Bender didn't make it into the cut, but what are you going to do?
All right. Well, we're gonna try to get this episode close to a close and head over to the no budget section. And I'm very intrigued by what the GOAD is going to add, and BigTuck, because apparently they're breaking the bank, as well am I.
Yes.
So GOAD, what are you going to cut? What are you going to add?
Well, we're going to cut another land to get me under 29.
Okay. What land do you want to cut?
Let's go with the basic mountain.
All right. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
That's a rarity on this cast.
People.
People don't cut the basics.
Yeah, we needed to get under that 30. We're going to go for it because what we're going to add is a 0-drop artifact that creates mana.
Damn it! I think we might be on the same one. But does it also
Get that Tambo?
Does it also potentially?
It has a downside where I have to discard my hand.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about.
We're talking about Lion's Eye Diamond.
Yep.
Interesting.
So Lion's Eye Diamond and Underworld Breach together completely change the entire deck. It opens us up to many, many more infinite combos. And like I said, it's going to cause ripple effects that'll change the deck up overall. So this is going to add infinite combos where Underworld Breach, Lion's Eye Diamond, and Wheel of Fortune is a mill. Everyone mills their entire deck.
So what is LED?
Lion's Eye Diamond, as I said, is a 0-drop artifact that you can tap, sacrifice. I'm sorry, I don't even think you have to tap it, but you sacrifice it, discard your hand, and add 3 mana of any one color to your mana pool, and until end of turn, obviously. So with Underworld Breach in play, that all of a sudden that turns the Wheel of Fortune into everybody mills their library. You can run a card like Burning Inquiry and do that again. You can run cards like Lotus Petal and Brain Freeze and mill your opponents out. You
can play cards like Alter the Brood and ETB, mill everyone out.
Yep, we could also do that.
Trash.
It just opens the way to making the deck go from just a lot more infinite combos. And this is one that ever since Underworld Breach was previewed, I'm like, I have to try this in Kykar.
And just for the record, on the Mirage print of this, $450.
Which is why I haven't done it yet.
The only printing of it, because this card is part of Magic history on the reserve list.
Nice. Is there a gold bordered version?
No. But I wish there was. But back in the day, you used to be able to pick these up for like $5.
That's because there's no gold bordered version. If there was a gold bordered version, they would have won the championship. And if there isn't a gold bordered version, then it was a crap card back then.
Well, then there was a collector's editions.
Not on this one.
Oh, only Alpha Beta.
Oh, they only did that for Alpha Beta.
Yes.
Oh, all right. That's fair. Yeah, LED is one of those
Buy a box of gold and learn about your old...
LED is one of those cards that honestly, I saw the printing. I would hear people vaguely talk about it, but I'm like, that sounds like a terrible card. Sack it, 3 mana, discard your hand, trash. But I think Underworld Breach is what's kind of made this card shine. Yeah. I'm sure there's other rigmaroles you can do, but Underworld Breaches seems to be the easiest, where it's like, oh, it's 0-drop, it goes to my graveyard. As long as no one has Rest in Peace or some anti-graveyard thing, I should just win. Mm-hmm. But I guess the question I would have is, at what point do you cast LED and try to do this? Ooh. Because you obviously have to have enough in your graveyard to rinse and repeat and actually make it worthwhile. Because just getting Brainstorm over and over and over again, I mean, I guess that technically works because you would draw a net 1 card every time.
Well, It depends on what your final piece is going to be. So if you're going to have that be Wheel of Fortune, you can go as early as turn 2. Once you have the Lion's Eye Diamond, once you have the Underworld Breach and Kykar in play, because you're casting the Wheel of Fortune from your graveyard, drawing 7, discarding, and then you bring it out of the yard. You cast it all out of the yard again. So you're drawing 7, then you immediately discard those 7, then you use 6 of them to recast the Wheel of Fortune and the Lion's Eye Diamond. So if it's like, if you're going with Lion's Eye Diamond and Wheel of Fortune, you can go as early as turn 2. Wow. But with some other combos, you do have to really play it safe because, like we've said a few times before on the podcast, this deck is a Rube Goldberg machine. Mm-hmm, and when you start to combo, you can fail.
Yeah.
So you do have to play it safe, but Wheel of Fortune just Just gets it.
Just gets it.
That was a nice snap.
BigTuck, you're also cutting leadership vacuum, correct?
No.
Oh. What?
No, switch it.
I hate you. All right, what are you cutting?
So my card is even more expensive than this and does much less. So I got what I like to call a double whammy there. So I'm going to cut your old pal Felwar Stone.
Okay.
So
For Manolith.
yeah, yes, the
Wonderful.
second's way too fast.
Glad to hear it.
Felwar Stone is 2 colors for an artifact. Tap and add 1 mana of any color that a land an opponent controls can produce. Argument's sake, it's probably the second best 2-drop mana rock outside of Arcane Signet. But we can do better. And with the small investment into another piece of Magic history.
Oh, here we go.
And $453.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm kind of
Or-
frightened.
If you want the fancy version, $524.
There's a fancy version of Magic history?
You can make, yeah, that is weird. How does that work?
Judge promo?
From the vaults.
Huh.
You can slot in a Mox Diamond.
Doesn't that kind
And
of
get
f-
already
up the
started
whole,
even faster.
Does that not f- up the whole point of Magic history?
I don't know, it doesn't matter.
Sorry. Judge!
Is it already in there?
It's already in there.
Yeah.
Damn it. All right, fine. Mine's line side diamond. No, wait, no. Suck it. Hold on. I'm gonna
Panic scroll.
No, okay, I got it. Yep. All right, great. No, we're gonna do it even better. We are going to cut a basic.
28 lands now.
We're gonna cut a basic island and put in Tabernacle of Pendrell Vale. There you go.
Wow. Hi, Forrest.
Just because it's expensive. I don't know.
Yeah.
The whole thing threw me off. I was confused and scared.
Mr. Day 2, welcome to the party. Glad you
Well,
brought
what's
a...
Tabernacle do?
I don't think you're even allowed to read this card off for how angry you got at Forrest for saying
Legendary
it.
land, all creatures have at the beginning of your upkeep. Destroy this creature unless you pay 1. Does nothing to CEDH. So that's what you get for playing the format. Suck it. Oh man.
Wow. Okay, guys. Well, I'm going to try to recover this because that was just an epic failure. I'm going to cut Return to Dust, and the card that I'm adding is a lot less sexy compared to the GOADs, but I do think you have a couple cards in here that already make this card work, and of course, BigTuck is going to roll his eyes when I say it, but also that's why I asked about the Basalt Monolith. You should probably put a power artifact in here.
Oh god.
Double blue. Well, he can tutor for it with his Muddle the Mixture.
Yeah.
He could also throw it on Isochron Scepter if it's like, if I only had 1 extra mana, then I could go infinite. Okay, reduces it down to 1, but also Grim Monolith gives you your infinite mana. So power artifacts and an enchant artifact card, $250. The activation cost of target artifact is reduced by 2. If this effect would reduce it to below 1, then it's 1 instead. So I don't know how that now works with your LED. If that's something that you would even want to consider, because it sounds like I'd rather go to the LED route than the power artifact route. But if your thought process is I'm going to go to LED and I'm going to put more X type spells in here to take use of that infinite mana, I think it might make sense to put in power artifacts. That's almost kind of redundancy for your LED combo. If for some reason that gets shut off, you still know that you have a Grim Monolith power artifact, infinite mana that you could pour into your stuff.
Okay, I kind of see that. I see where you're going with that.
Yeah.
I guess the question is, and like definitely with the LED thing, it would cause a ripple effect within the deck, and I think it might be worth a shot. We can see about adding it. Well, and but I do definitely support your hatred of Return to Dust because I'm gonna need to take that out.
Yeah, it's a great card
for something,
but yeah. Well, anyways, this has just been a shit show. Thanks for making it until the end. And as promised, here's some details about our giveaway from our sponsor, Level 1. We're actually be giving away a Kaldheim bundle from Level 1. So it's going to be a mixture of collector boosters, normal packs, specialty things, plus you get a CMD Tower playmat and sleeves. To enter, just promote the content that we produce. You get an entry for every interaction you do with us on social media, plus being a patron. We will announce the winner on MTG Action 4 News February 2nd and social media soon after. And yes, we're doing these giveaways each month. Could be a sweet little card set like this, could be a custom deck. It just depends on what Level 1 puts together. But we would love a 5-star review. Hit the subscribe button, whether you're watching us on YouTube, listening to us on a podcast platform, and leave positive feedback. It really does help when we do read that stuff so we can try to improve the content you're listening and watching to. If you would like to reach out to us and find out more ways to enter the contest, here's how you can do that. You can reach me at Mr. Combo number 5 on Twitter, all spelled out except for the 5. BigTuck, where can they reach you?
I am still on the Twitterverse. I have not been as active this week because of at BigTuck tweeting.
You can reach our main account at CMD Tower on Twitter as well. We will have the GOAT's deck list posted at cmdtower.com/BNBE73. Basically, all you got to do is type in cryptic command, mana crypt, dramatic reversal, tower.com.
Did the mana crypt hurt? Because you've died to it so many times?
I don't want to talk about it. I've almost thought about cutting it to save it.
This card is a curse.
Squee McGee, if people want to get a hold of your Manolith commentary, how would they do that?
Oh, you can find me on Facebook or Instagram at Rich Chaos Records. You can find me, Dear Squee, at cmdtower.com. I'm on Twitter. I'll mirror Tuck. I'm a little less active. It's at Dear Squee.
All right. Well, he does do audio editing, so if you'd like to work with the you can. Of course, big shout out to T-Coats. He's our video editor for YouTube. So if you want to check him out or hit him up for a project, at T-Coats on Twitter. If you would like to actually support our sponsor with the orders you're already doing, you guys should head over to level1gameshop.com. When you place an order in the order notes, just type in CMD Tower to know that you came from the collective. Outside of their own storefront, they do have their own TCG store, so you can get them on multiple platforms. Board games, tabletop accessories, sweet dice, and an awesome staff. Go hook them up so they know that it's worth actually doing these giveaways. If you would actually like to put dollars in our pockets so we can continue to improve the content, get BigTuck an actual audio setup that works when he leaves remotely, and hopefully help us build our Twitch platform, you should head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/CMD Tower. We have several different reward tiers, from as simple as getting a Squee McGee coin for $5 a month, plus access to the Discord and the deck therapy, up to even the BigTuck's Brew Buddies at $15, where you get a pack of sleeves, you get a BigTuck Monarch, you get a Squee coin, you get a sticker, and you get a shout out. Ooh. Plus, every tier gets you additional entries into the monthly giveaways. If you can't do a monthly perspective, but you would actually like to help us out and get some of our swag, you can head over to cmdtower.com/merch. We do sell everything on there. Please buy it. I am swarming in reminder tokens. That's a reminder that I need to sell more reminder tokens, which is a reminder that I need to sell more reminder tokens, and I could go on for infinite.
Yes.
Do it.
Extortion.
And of course, again, thank you to Pink Royal for the music provided in the episode. So, GOAD, you kicked it off for us. CEDH month. The Goose is loose. How do you feel?
I feel great. Always had a lot of fun being on the cast. It's always a lot of fun to get everybody's thoughts on the deck, really hyper-analyze it myself. Thank you guys so much for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So I guess the big thing is our reactions, cards we talked about, things that we said to cut, things that we said to add. Any of it surprising to you? Any of it, other than BigTuck obviously picking a card you already have in the deck, which that's like the easiest bottle capping there is. Oh, you should cut Mox Diamond for Mox Diamond.
It's easy. Now, okay, I was thinking about that, and I almost wasn't going to say anything. However, I do have an easy point to blame to wag the finger to.
Architect?
It was on Architect. So probably when I was looking at Merchant Scroll, which, if I may prove a point, when I put on Merchant Scroll, it completely covers the rest of the grains. And guess what it doesn't do on our future sponsor, Tapped Out.
So yeah, did anything surprise you today? Anything that you will be taking away from this, or do you think you just need conventions to pop back up so you can actually see what the deck is supposed to do?
I would very much like the conventions to pop back in. That'd be very nice. But I did take a lot of the cuts and everything, getting to defend my cards. A couple of cards I'm thinking about taking out are actually Return to Dust. You kind of swayed me a little bit on Leadership Vacuum. And so I took a lot out of it. I will say, though, that even though I definitely see the brilliance behind the Tabernacle, because it doesn't tax me at all. I only run 2 creatures.
It only costs more than your mana base.
It's a circus of value.
But the value of $1,900.
That card's like $1 million, and I'm not. And I'd rather buy a Lion's Eye Diamond with that.
Listen.
You can buy 4 Lion's Eye Diamonds for that.
Listen. I understand, as we're all aware of, that I'm a very cool.
Do you remember how loud you yelled at Forrest when he picked Tabernacle?
That was a whole year ago. I'm a completely different person who is now evolved into someone who's calm, rash, doesn't make split-second decisions, and certainly doesn't get upset with himself when he picks a card that's already in the deck.
You haven't looked in the mirror in the last 6 months?
So, look, I'm going to walk out of here and I'm going to sleep like a baby and certainly not psychoanalyze everything I did during this podcast until 2 a.m, which is when Mr. Squee will still be awake.
It's Mr. Big Squeeze, sir.
Well, I had a lot of fun with it, especially because I got insight to one of my competitors in our what small CEDH.
That's what it's all
I got insight, baby. 'Cause I'll be honest, I had no idea what this deck was trying to do.
This is all about. This whole month is just
me getting data.
Information.
Just me getting data.
Was that from Seinfeld? When you control the mail, you control information. Newman.
I don't know.
Anyways.
I watch good shows. Like
Yeah,
Friends.
Seinfeld is one of the best shows
I
ever.
don't watch that. You always say How I Met Your Mother. I've never watched an episode.
You go to the comedy people and ask anyone if Friends is better than Seinfeld.
The good show of Big Bang Theory. There you go.
Hey, Schitt's Creek.
That's a rare exception. The other one's trash. I need 2020. I need to wake up in 2021 and fix my life.
2 days, buddy. 3 days, whatever. 2 days. 2 days? 2 days.
1 day? Tomorrow's the last day?
Yeah.
New Year's Eve.
Yep.
Yeah, tomorrow's the last day.
That's still this year.
Bye!